All right, everyone knows what we're talking about today. We all have gone through some sort of trauma or emotional stresses in life, right? And over the years, we've become very smart and found what we think are easy ways to deal with such situations. But actually, what we've ended up developing is a coping mechanism. Now, coping means we aren't resolving. We're just adjusting to whatever is happening and in whatever way we can. Yeah. Now, these coping mechanisms hold us back in our relationships, in our pursuit of financial growth, in keeping good health, and they're rooted in what psychotherapists and healers call the inner child. So now many of you have already gone through the inner child guide we sent out yesterday, right? And in case you haven't, I want you to venture a guess at this question, okay? I want to check if we can identify aspects of our inner child. Shall we try that? Yeah? Are we ready? So on Telegram, tell us what you think what do you think our inner child is like? Yeah, give us a couple of answers on the Telegram group. Tell us what do you think, if you had to describe your inner child, what is it like? Yeah, I'm going to check Telegram and see. I'm getting, okay, so the answers have started coming. Nehal says innocence, stress free. That's true. When we were kids, we were very, very stress free. Although I think as teenagers, I started thinking we are very, very stressed. But younger than that, yes. Kajal says playful. Shilpi says happy. Um, Kajal says want of attention. Vandana says innocent, playful, happy go lucky. Rhonda says shy and reserved. That's true. Some children are. Hemant says innocent and sensitive. Anshika says it was lonely and fearful, but now better. That's interesting, Anshika, and we're going to touch upon that. Someone else says wants nurturing, at times a tantrum creator. That's very good. That's true. That's how we are as little kids sometimes. Dimple says introvert and unable to express. That's we're going to dive into that as well, Dimple. Mona says transparent. Anisha says real self. Sanjana says spontaneous. That's true. Anisha says happy, no responsibility. Whole bunch of these. Doc, there are a whole bunch of these coming. So now I'm not going to analyze them myself. That's what we have an expert in the house for. Are you ready to find out more from the expert? Please welcome one of the most knowledgeable healers on the Mystic Lotus and Dragonflies platform. She's been trained by international experts, many who are creators of super popular modalities. She's now a leading trainer in regression therapies in India. Big, big hello, Dr. Geetanjali.
Thank you so much, Ruchira.
Welcome to your first masterclass of 2021.
It's Masterclass 31st January. So my first masterclass for this year.
That's true. Yeah. So,
Totally
Doc,
pressure.
we've got so many of these answers about an inner child, about
Right.
how our inner child is like. What is it like? We've got some more. Samina says, and there's a mix of some which are positive and some which are negative. Yeah,
Right. Absolutely.
like for example, Samina's given a really nice example of. So she says frustration,
Yeah.
stressful, could never come up to parents' expectations, lonely. So tell us, Doc, how do we know which part of us is the inner child and which part of us is the outer child?
Okay. So basically, the outer child, we call it as the centered adult.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, the thing is that very few people have a right centered adult.
Okay.
There are so
What is a right-centered adult?
right centered adult, when I say, is there is like you do not have the knowing that you have a wise person, a centered adult within us who can parent your inner child.
Hmm.
So there is a centered adult within all of us. We just need to identify that centered adult so that we can take care of our inner children. Now, what is an inner child? Inner child is a part of your own self, your own personality. So, for example, if you notice, all of us have different hats. When Ruchita, you would be here in the Mystic Lotus Masterclass, you would wear a different hat. If suppose you would go out with your friends, you would wear a different hat. If suppose you are in a relationship with somebody, you would wear a different hat. So, like that, we all have hats or different aspects of our personality. So, we all have the achiever within us. We all have the blamer within us who keeps on, okay, I was not successful because of this. We all have somebody which is an irresponsible child who doesn't want to take responsibility, and then it works along with the blamer, because if I don't want to take responsibility, I need a friend. The friend is a blamer. Okay, then you also have within yourself a bully. That every one of us has been a bully in some areas of life. It can be with your servants, it can be with your children, it can be even with your parents and your husband, and a lot of spouses. And if you are a boss, then it becomes, you can become a bully to your employees, right? So we do not know something known as boundaries, or we do not know how to stop or respect the other person's boundaries, because we were not taught like that during that inner child, during our training when we were small. And at particular time in your life, when things are not going right, a frozen energy, energy which has refused to move ahead in life. So it is in that. So if you have an inner child at 3 and today you're 45, believe me that inner child at 3 still exists. You may not know about it. You may
Yeah.
not have an inkling about it, but it still exists. And many times, so right now I'm a center adult. All of us are in the center adult right now. Listening, talking nicely, and all that. The moment there is a trigger,
Hmm.
the moment there's a trigger, you revert to your original behavior. Let your husband, let your mother, let your father tell you something. Let your brother tell you something. How do you become? You become children.
Hmm.
You start fighting. You start getting angry. You start getting frustrated. And in that, you let go, or you speak up certain things. Now, this is, I'm just trying to tell you how is an inner child, and that inner child comes out only in the times when there is a not a homeostasis. There is a situation which is out of your control,
Hmm.
right? And you say things which can become very detrimental to your own future sometimes. Now,
Hmm.
these are the things which also spoil a relationship. People don't realize it, but it does spoil a relationship. So there is no control over this inner child, because now that 3-year-old child, he does not have any boundaries, has come up and is fighting forcefully with the other person, right? So
Hmm.
all of us have this inner child, and we have developed, as you rightly said, certain coping mechanisms. Now that coping mechanism can be anything. I will, if people try to harass me, I will not do anything. I will sit like that. It can be anything. And how it, basically we see that in our life in different aspects. So I have had cases where people reaching the top, and suddenly something happens and their inner child is triggered. And then they start having chaos in their lives. For example, can I share a case history right
Yeah,
now?
yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, of
Okay.
course.
So I have this case of a person who is on a very high position. When I say high position, some vice president or something beyond that. And everything was going fine until the time suddenly this person was starting to having issues with his own, employees, his own team. And whenever we do healing for this person, it always comes as, I want attention. Now, do you think a person at a level of a market vice president would want attention? Who is craving for attention? Some inner child which has got triggered because of some other issues wants attention. So
Hmm.
all the time we are working only on that layer, that you have attention from your parents, you have attention from your family, people are giving you attention. So it has just got triggered because of a traumatic event which has happened. and
Mm.
now it's not getting it's not getting resolved, and this problem has been happening from a long time, so we are working on it. So I always give a person, okay, if you want to work on an issue, give me 3 to 5 sessions, and you find your own psychology. See, it's a very, very deep work, it's a very, very intense work. So you find your own psychology. Why are you creating all this in your life when you have everything? You have everything. Why are you creating this where your image is not being accepted? People are talking against you.
Yeah.
You don't need to. So does anybody does it voluntarily? I don't think so. Anybody would want to do it voluntarily. But you create that. It happens unknowingly. A
Mm.
small hurt or a small sentence from someone can trigger that deep rooted 3-year-old child, which is hurt, wounded, does not know what to do, and also revengeful,
Mm.
because I could not express anything. I was subdued, I was suppressed. So it has triggered that inner child. So people, when they come to me or when people talk to me, no, no, but now it is perfectly fine. Yeah, there was a time, but we need to go to that time. We need to regress you to that time. We need to release those parent tapes. We really need to release those tapes your teachers told you, or the tapes that your friends told you they were bullying you in school. We need to release those tapes and make you wholesome, integrated once again, so that when there is a problematic situation, you don't deal with that situation like an inner child, and you don't create those situations in life.
Mm.
You work on with the help of a centered adult.
So, Doc, you said something really interesting, and I think it has roots in another question that I had for you,
Right?
which is something we actually didn't explore when we were discussing inner child therapy, healing. We
Okay.
didn't discuss this aspect. Um, Inner child work is one of those, I think, rare modalities that have very deep studies and work that's happened on a scientific, traditional scientific level, and because it's got
Hmm.
a lot of focus in the world of psychotherapy and psychology,
Right.
as well as on a holistic healing side. So
Right.
I wanted to understand, and you mentioned this thing about creating in those situations that warrant that inner child to come out again. What do you mean by creating that situation
Okay.
again and again?
So we don't create. Firstly, if I said I created, and I did not mean that. What I mean to say is, suppose my inner child at the age of 5, I was a very shy girl.
Hmm.
And I entered school, and the teacher told me to speak up. And I couldn't speak up. And because, not because I didn't know it, because I was shy. At that point of time, the teacher made faces, what is this? And people, and inner child, believe me, you pick up the nuances from a person. You pick up small small bits, and after that the children around you started making fun. Arey, isko to kuch nahi aata hai, ye to kya hai? Do you understand? Now at that point of time I couldn't retaliate because I was shy. I did not know, it was a new environment, and if 2 3 times this thing happens, it
Hmm.
becomes very much as a parent tape that I don't know anything. I'm vulnerable. I can't speak up.
Hmm.
Now what also happens is, now maybe I've suppressed that inner child, maybe I've done. So you will notice in my day-to-day affairs, whenever something important comes up, I will not be able to speak up. It can be a situation where I need to speak my truth. Somebody is telling me something and I need to tell my side of the story, and you see that in serials many times. So the heroine does not speak up only, because she has been conditioned that you can't speak up against your in-laws and your whatever, it's a situation that they create in the inner child. And then that, all that suppression, which you can't speak up. Now
Hmm.
what happens, everything is fine, maybe you got a good this thing, that inner child got subsided, and suddenly one day uh, your boss comes in, or your mother-in-law comes in, or anybody comes in, it can be your friend also,
Hmm.
and accuses you of something, and you are not the 35 anymore. You reach the 5-year-old who could not speak up, and that 35 and the 5 now are enmeshed.
Mm.
They are one. And until I dissociate the 35 from the 5, heal the 5, this 35 will not feel better. Now suddenly you will be seeing that the person is not able to speak up, and he can develop thyroid issues also. There are some people. I got a recent case in which, of course, I'm going to start working on that person. I just did one session of Akashic with her, but I said you require inner child work and you require regression work. And this client of mine said that I have thyroid cancer. It's okay. For me, it was not okay, because thyroid cancer is a lot of suppression which the client is telling in your life. And when I was taking down even the Akashic records, I found that the parents have really suppressed this girl in the childhood. She could not even get married to the person she liked, and after getting married to that person, they kind of just shunned her. They did not even accept her back in the family. They did not even speak to her. They don't even speak to her today. So this all this suppression has resulted in the her issues at work. So I said we'll resolve the issues. That's not a problem at all, but it will take time. So it's like that. So you are at this level, but your inner children, which are unhealed, can create a lot of problems. You do not know it, and suddenly you may be coming and saying that I have a job loss, or I have a relationship issue, or I have this money issue. I feel stuck, and I have this depression, and I have this OCD, and I have this. All your issues are related to this inner child. You yourself, also when you were in your mother's womb, what your mother went through was is also very, very important. So if we are able to regress that inner child to the womb, it all depends upon, of course, people to people. If you're able to regress a lot of stories, you will come to know that your actual problem started right from the womb to where you are today. So we don't need to deal with the problems of today. This is the result of your coping mechanisms, which you decided at the age of 5, 10, or 15. So those inner children have to. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, you did, Doc. In fact, I was going to ask you about, so the inner child is always there, right?
Yeah,
And it gets impacted by certain things.
right.
Is
So inner
it's not
child is not
something that
also,
we
so
can
no,
create.
no, no, I'll just stop you here. Inner child does not mean that we are growing up. As you grow up, some people said here, I'm innocent, I'm playful, I'm joyful, I'm happy. So you
Yeah.
are all those positive things till the time something happened to for you to break that innocence, and you stop there and there.
Hmm.
For example, I can be very innocent, but if I see the people around me are cheaters, and one day I get caught because they have cheated, and
Hmm.
I feel, "Yeah, I had done nothing. Now I will see. I will become the world's best cheater, or I will start lying, or I will, steal."
Hmm.
Because as it is my innocence, my goodness is not getting rewarded, and I'm getting punishment. Those attitude, sometimes you see it in films also, when you
Yeah.
see that this suddenly that hero says, okay, I was, a child, 12, 15-year-old child, now I will show the world, I will show my father, I will show my mother, and I will become the best thief or whatever. That is inner child in a revengeful
Ah.
manner, consciously deciding to do something. But you don't consciously decide that this is just happening in films, but you start saying, okay, I'll teach them a lesson, and then you do everything to sabotage them. But the
Hmm.
problem is you don't end up sabotaging the parents, you end up sabotaging your own self.
So it's the need to get back, to get revenge. That's what would
So one of them
brought
is
you into that
revenge.
behavior, right?
Yeah, one of them is revenge, but it need not always be revenge. It can be that I can feel highly victimized. So I'm trying so hard, but my mother still does not see me. My mother is not happy with me. She always sees my brother.
Hmm. Yeah, I've
So
heard that.
let
I've heard that
let
so
let
many times. From people who have siblings, I've heard that very often, that they didn't get any. They'll say that I didn't get any attention. It was always my brother who got the attention. So they've become rebels, for example. That
yes,
I've come across.
exactly. And if you see suddenly, children start around the age of 15 and 16 as starting taking drugs and alcohol, and they start stealing, and they want to go away from family. There are children who do that. There are
Hmm.
children who come to us and say that they have the parents come ki, he's not studying. But he is not studying because he has seen you both fighting. So his not studying is the way of the parent not fighting with each other, but looking at the child, so they will not fight, so it is peace for the child. But he has sabotaged himself. Now if he doesn't study at 15, 16, he's not going to grow up to be something achievable. He the achiever within him has died because
Hmm.
the parents have fought so much. So he decided not to take revenge. He started, now if I become the passive aggressive behavior, I start rebelling, I start taking drugs. Now my parents will now stop fighting and they start looking at each other, and they will look at me
Hmm.
because my good behavior is not getting rewarded. Let me do my bad behavior. So how everybody's psychology is different, Ruchita. So the problem is we need to understand the psychology of a person. What motivates this behavior? What is the
Hmm.
person getting out of it? And we need to release that coping. What are
Ah.
you getting out? So every time, suppose, so I will take revenge. So how does taking revenge help you?
Hmm.
It will always be us, because at the age of 8, I did not have the wisdom which I have at 30.
Hmm.
At the age of 30, I did not have the wisdom which I have at 45. So
Hmm.
at a certain age, you can create inner child anytime, even at the age of, suppose you are 25, 30 and you lose your husband. Believe
Hmm.
me, it's a huge shock. I just now got a case with somebody. She had coronavirus. Her husband had coronavirus. So seeing her husband on a ventilator, she couldn't take it. And this lady, from the last 5 years, when she's been coming to me, she's been just telling, I don't like my husband. He's so dominating. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. So I have been patiently listening, because not everybody is ready to work on themselves. And this is the first time that she has become ready to work on herself. And we already did a session, and I said, we need to go to that part of you which feels vulnerable, powerless. So she became ill, and now, after getting out of COVID in September, still she is still today undergoing psychiatric treatment. There has been an anxiety, the feeling of out of control. So we have to work on her anxiety. So I've done one session with her, and on her anxiety, basically that part of her which feels out of control. So now what happened? She's what? She's around 48, 50. So at 48, 50, she felt she's feeling the anxiety, which 15 years back she started feeling the anxiety because she was about to lose some property, which went to the 10-year-old child, which is feeling the anxiety because the parents are fighting. So now do you understand how many inner children are there in one anxiety? So once
Hmm.
we release that, her anxiety is her coping. So anytime I feel, so people cope by various things. People cope by addictions.
Yeah, in fact, Doc, Bhavna just asked that, and I was going to ask you that question. She says, what could be the reason of for someone to, start smoking at the age of 60 when that person has hated cigarettes, and even the sight of an ashtray on a restaurant table, like he would not like it. So she's asking, like, what would trigger something like that? And I remember you and I spoke about addictions and how addictions are very often rooted in inner child work.
Okay, yes. So addictions are, I'm just trying to see Bhavna. Okay. I'm not able to get her. But yes, so let me just talk about addictions. Addictions are rooted in inner child work. But see, please understand it. You at 16 are seeing the child addicted to alcohol. But it didn't
Not
start
child.
there.
This is a 60-year-old, 60.
60. Okay. So if even if a 60-year-old person is addicted, he's high. See, first of all, addiction is means how do you, the coping is running away. So you're running away from the reality you are seeing. The reality that you are seeing, you're not liking it. You can't do anything to change it. So I'm running away. That is the mind. It runs away. Now you run away. Either you run away physically and you go to some Himalaya and you sit. So that 60-year-old could have done that. You run away by taking drugs. You run away by taking alcohol. You run away even with suicide. The pain is too much. So this 60-year-old, when we regress him, if he comes, when we regress him, you will find there are various inner child. And because he's starting therapy at 16, 60, it will be a long time. If 15, 20 sessions would happen for this person to give up alcohol. So there are many centers today who work with the people, and they give medicines and they help them in inner child work. So to release the trauma.
So, Doc, this is somebody who is 60 years now, 60 years old now,
60,
and they
60.
hated 60, yeah, and they hated smoking all their lives. They couldn't stand the sight of even an ashtray on a restaurant, but they have taken it up now. They've started smoking now.
So there has to be some parent who died. So they have taken that habit in order to cope with that loss.
Okay, that
So
could be.
ask that.
Okay. All right. Okay. There's another question. In fact, Dipanita's asking, when the inner child is healed, does the situation get resolved as well that they were that had brought on that triggered the inner child
No,
or
the
that triggered the
situation will
coping
remain the
mechanism?
same. It is always the same. The way we went into the coping of it, the way we went into the resolving of it, that changes.
So she was asking in the context of the lady you were talking about. Did her parents accept her after her inner child was healed?
Okay, that way. Yeah, yeah, of course. I was thinking that the situation which created the inner child. No, 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 no.
Oh, no, no,
But,
no.
but you will always see that once we do inner child, your relationship with your parents, your father, your mother, your husband changes. It becomes better.
Okay. So that brings me to another question, Doc. There's a lot of talk around, dysfunctional family dynamics.
All the families are dysfunctional, let me tell you. There is no functional family till date.
But what are these? What are dysfunctional family dynamics, and how are they linked to inner child?
So, if you see, every family has a theme.
Okay.
Every family, and the theme of a certain family comes from the parents. So if you see, you are, for example, in a family, there are, Venus and there is Ines. So what is Venus? Venus is basically the family is a unit. So if
Hmm.
you have a joint family system, that is a Venus.
Okay.
Now, what happens in a joint family system? Everything has a positive and the negative. What happens in a joint family system? So there are four sister-in-law, daughter-in-laws, and they have their children. And you will notice that everybody is comparing the children with each other. So that way becomes a dysfunctional family. What you also, I yesterday never seen some movie, and the husband always all the time kept on saying, you are, what are you doing? You're doing nothing. You're just watching television. You're on your mobile. And dekho, un padosi ki ladki ko dekho, she has now started going there. She has just passed her medical. This is a dysfunctionality because you're comparing your child. You're not honoring the child. You're not honoring your own child. That you are doing something good. But see, I'm not saying that looking at a WhatsApp is a good thing, but there was definitely something positive in the child. So you
Hmm.
are not honoring the positive, that this child is studying so well, or is so good at music, or is so good in her own way, or what she could be very creative. So you are now focusing more on studies, which all of us Indian parents do, and you are not allowing that creativity to bud.
Hmm.
And because you're not allowing that creativity to grow, one fine day she will stop that creativity. It has created a dysfunctionality. Or a dysfunctional family is what? The husband comes in late, staggering, and he's an alcoholic. Now the wife all the time is trying to keep the balance, the homeostasis of the family together by, don't talk loudly, your father will get angry, and if your father gets angry, then it will be difficult, so might as well don't talk back, this will get. So all this is dysfunctionality where you're not able to express yourself, when you see the father figure, the primary caregiver, in
Hmm.
the role of what? Just a person who comes and shows an irresponsible behavior. Now the daughter, in order to punish the father, will again attract an alcoholic.
Ah, okay. Okay, like that.
Yeah, that you see, you now you see what I do.
Hmm.
You destroyed me, so I will look at it. And this happens so unknowingly, you don't even know how. And suddenly her life is exactly like her mother's, and she doesn't even know that.
Hmm.
It's a toxic relationship that she's into, because that's what she's seeing. Toxicity is what she has seen in her childhood. So children learn by imitating, children learn by seeing. So
So,
what?
Doc,
Hmm.
there's a whole bunch of comments
I'm
on
so sorry. Yeah, we can start.
I've been looking at, and we'll come back to Bhavna. Bhavna's Bhavna mentioned that um, the person who's taken to smoking, their parents died 15-20 years ago, and everyone in the family is a teetotaler. So, Bhavna, I would think, Doc, that this is clearly something that has a root
Yeah,
somewhere.
it is only when we do a consultation with this person we'll understand why it has been taken up.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
and me can't decipher what is going into other person's mind.
yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. Um, Rupali is asking, could a severe, I'm not sure what GERD is. Could severe GERD at 60 years, 66 years,
Yeah, yeah. GERD is a disease.
okay, not resolving, can that have some root in inner child?
Yes, of course.
Okay. Now, there's a whole bunch of comments I've seen. There's one from Suman, there's a couple of others, there's from Kajal, talking about feeling lonely, even though you could have family, or whether you have family or not, you could still feel very, very lonely. Is this something that's rooted in inner child? And can it be
Yes, and
healed
it
by healing the inner child?
yes, 100%, 100%. It's not a big deal at all here. The loneliness is definitely to do with the inner child, and the inner child could be feeling very lonely even in the mother's womb.
Uh-huh.
Yesterday, I worked on a case, and in that, um, this person is having a husband who's depressed,
Hmm.
not able to cope. And when we were working on her from a current, she went to the time when she's away from her mother, and because her mother had tuberculosis. So for 6 months after she's born, for 6 months she's
Hmm.
away. There is no connect with the mother. See, please understand, in inner child work, or we are all organisms, and we require the first primary caretaker, the mother, to be with us.
Yeah.
When I don't have the mother, when and I'm still I've just born, I start feeling I will not exist. I will
Hmm.
die. So the mother being so away, she has created, because she's a primary caregiver, the husband who is depressed and not available mentally and emotionally the way the mother was not available physically, mentally, and emotionally in the first 6 months of her life. And it's a huge trauma for a 6 month old. Believe me, people don't realize.
Hmm.
It's a huge trauma. For a week, we believe it's a huge trauma. So this person was away from the mother for 6 months, and the mother is about to die. See, you know that your mother is not there. She can die. If she dies, I die, because who will take care of me? See, this doesn't matter that the bai was there, the grandmother was there. These are all conscious mind. The
Hmm.
subconscious mind who needs the mother, needs the mother, and needs the mother.
Hmm.
It will not get. So if the mother is will die, who will die? I will die. If I will die, let me start becoming independent. Now you will see this lady will create situations in her life. I
Hmm.
can't depend on my mother. Because I can't depend on my mother, let me become independent. Let me do things on myself. So till today, her life has been a depressed husband, and she doing things on herself. And
Hmm.
then these people come to us and ask, I never had a husband who would take care of me.
I've heard that also a lot. That's true. That's true. I've heard that a lot, and it always disturbs me because it means that you're in a cycle.
Yeah,
It also means that these are people who get really tired of taking care of themselves all the time as well.
right.
So, Doc, we have a whole bunch of
and
people.
and that tiredness of taking care of themselves will also lead to huge diseases, which they start when it copes, the coping breaks up, they will create cancer, they will create huge diseases, so that everybody now starts giving me attention.
Hmm.
You think a person who's a vice president would need attention? He would not. Yet his inner child always comes and says, I want attention.
But all children requires attention. So there's a part
Exactly.
of us which will always be there that will require attention, right?
Mostly, what will affect Ruchira is the part of you which does not get attention.
Okay.
So we have to work on that part which did not get of attention. That's the issue.
Okay.
Issue
Okay.
here is the part of which you which did not get attention,
Okay.
which
I
will
have some.
create chaos around you.
Hmm.
Will you see somebody's life, they are full of drama, no peace. That is the inner child.
Okay. There's Neetu who mentioned, Doc, that she feels uncomfortable in public. Is this something that has roots in and that could be
But what
resolved?
kind of uncomfortable in public?
Sorry.
What kind of uncomfortableness in public?
Oh, not sure. Neetu, you could answer that. In the meantime, I have another comment from, I don't have the name of this person. My father has always been careless. Even now, I guess I'm unable to attract a man because of this, and I shun away men. Is this something, Doc, that can be healed with inner child healing?
Yeah, it can definitely be healed with inner child healing. And
How is that connected to if your father shuns away? Because I know that one of the things that you cover in your course is also about is looking at aspects where you've not been where the inner child has not been looked after
neglected inner child.
and neglected. Yeah. How could you explain a little bit about this?
So if you see that she's not saying that my father has neglected me, she's saying my father has been careless. So
Okay.
maybe careless money wise, maybe careless not taking the responsibility of the husband. So she shuns
Mm,
away. She's
mm,
herself keeping men away
mm,
because she feels they're not capable of taking care of her.
mm.
So I do not want men because in fact, if he's very careless, I may end up taking care of him, like my mother did.
Okay.
So there is this case has a bipolarity to it. There
Hmm.
is one part of her which wants to get married and one part which says do not get married, which shuns the man away.
Hmm.
So the inner child has,
She's,
huh?
she says very true.
Yeah. So there's a
She just
bipolarity there.
responds.
Yes, there's a
It's very true.
bipolarity.
And Neethu's just responded in the meantime, Doc. She says, I feel as if I'm being watched or commented upon. Neethu's the one who said, I feel uncomfortable in public.
Huh. So I watched or commented upon. Then we will have to go to her childhood and see which people would, her mother, her parents, or her siblings would comment on her when she was a child.
Mm,
That those message units, those parent tapes are still in her mind. Like, sit properly, you should not do this. So now understand, I told you everybody's psychology is different. Some people who are very courageous and say, okay, okay, doesn't matter. You do whatever.
mm,
They don't bother. But some people, for them, mother is the god, or the father is the god, or the sibling is the god. So they give them a very huge status in life. So when it
mm,
becomes a huge status in life, what actually happens is they will feel, oh my god, now this is, I can't do it. So now they're walking and now they feel that those parent tapes are in their head all the time.
mm,
Somebody's watching, somebody's watching. So walk properly or do this or do that. Or there is a very strong possibility. I'm very sorry, whoever the person is, um, either the person had some abuse in the childhood. Even those incidents are very traumatic.
mm,
Okay, so the feeling of watched is like a perpetuator who's watching you and finding you at a weak moment to harass
mm.
you. That also could.
Sometimes, and frankly, sometimes we don't even realize that we've been abused. Even
Yeah.
we don't, as children, we don't know too much about it. We don't register. It doesn't really register in that sense. Doc, Shilpi's asking about. She's raised a really interesting question that leads me to my next question. Shilpi's talked about can inner child help in daily relationships which hurt you, like regular relationships that on a daily basis where you feel hurt small, big, but you're feeling it constantly. And I wanted to touch upon this whole aspect of inner child work, which talks about setting boundaries.
Okay.
And what happens, and I know there's a lot of there's a big part of inner child work that's focused on setting boundaries. And I wanted to understand, why is setting boundaries important?
Okay.
Why is it really so essential? What role does it play in the inner child process?
So, setting boundaries is there in a lot of ways. Setting boundaries also is when you learn to say no. So many times now you're seeing in that all the groups learn to say no, it does
Yeah.
not hurt. That is one thing which is called as setting boundaries. Now, what
Mm.
happens is there is a part within us which wants to do a lot for people. I
Hmm.
want to rescue a lot of people. Now, that rescuer is becoming tired and tired and tired and tired. Okay. Now, if I don't learn to say no, then at 12 o'clock also people can call me and I will be talking to the people.
Hmm.
So, for example, I have set up a boundary from around 2, 3 months where I don't answer calls only. So,
Okay.
all the calls are going to the assistant. First, I used to pick up calls. I would be in therapy. It would make me frustrated. I set up a boundary. No means no. So, I will not be answering any calls. Let it get rooted
Hmm.
from wherever it wants. So it's a boundary. Please understand. It was not because the other person wanted to listen to me. It was my need to be there for everyone.
Ah, okay. Okay.
Huh? You have. Do you understand? So you're not setting the boundary that others don't reach you. You are setting a boundary for yourself. Respect yourself.
Hmm.
Honor yourself. How
Hmm.
much can you do? You will become tired. You will become exhausted, and that will lead to your problem. Because how much can you be there for everyone? You have to recognize your own strength. So it was a boundary I put for myself because
Hmm.
my need to rescue everybody was so large.
So you're moderating that
Yeah.
more than you're
Yeah.
moderating other people's behavior. Actually, you're moderating your own need
Absolutely. You
for.
are actually trying to give boundaries to yourself.
Hmm.
If you see, in the Western culture, there is a huge amount of boundaries. You cannot
Yeah.
go to somebody's house without asking. You cannot go to somebody's. You cannot meet somebody without taking an appointment. But here we are talking like, one neighbor goes to another's neighbor, sits there for 1 hour. Doesn't matter what is happening.
That's true. Yeah.
You are violating so your own boundaries plus somebody else's boundary, and then they say, it's okay na if I said, yeah, 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 please, please, please do it.
Hmm.
So nowadays, if you notice, even we have started following the Western where we don't interact much with people. I'm not saying it's not healthy or unhealthy. I'm not going into that debate. What I'm trying to say is nowadays people are now respecting their own boundaries and they
Hmm.
don't allow. But even if you see, still today, our mothers don't know the boundaries.
Yeah. Yeah. And possibly because, like you said, that it's from the need to take care
Ji,
rather
ji.
than.
Yeah. If you see your mother will today also Ruchirak maybe calling you up and saying, did you eat food? Did you do this? Did you do
Today
that?
before the today before the masterclass, she very sweetly brought a bowl of fruit. She's put here. She got nimbu pani made, and she's got that put here. I enjoy it, but she
Her,
doesn't
yeah,
actually.
her need to rescue you, her need to be needed. So that also is very much there. So it's very, very important.
Great, Doc. I'm going to ask you. What does In what ways, you've mentioned a whole bunch of case studies, of course, where inner child impacts your life, and a wounded inner child impacts your life. um, how does how do you address it? How does the healing of an inner child happen?
Okay.
What's the process of that?
So the first process is that you first identify the inner child.
Okay.
And once you're identified the inner child, you need to listen to the story. So there are two ways. Either you listen to the story as whatever he's saying, or you
Hmm.
take the inner child to that, you regress. It's an inner child regression. So you regress the inner child to that incident.
Okay.
So if a 15-year-old has come in, you can say, so go back in time to where it's happening, see what's happening around you, be in the body of the 15-year-old, look
Hmm.
around you, become smaller in size, become shrink and all that, feel the feet on the ground. And then where are you? Look out of the eyes, where are you? So now from the me time, the now time of suppose 31st January, we go into some time which is 15th August 1982 or 85 or whatever,
Hmm.
and we start seeing what is happening. So what is happening? So my father is there, and so you have to go it very slowly, and
Hmm.
then you have to ask the inner child, what are the decisions you made? How has it impacted your life? What do you conclude when both the parents are fighting? So both the parents are fighting, it's useless to be married, or it's useless to have parents.
Hmm.
Nobody cares. They all care about their fighting. Nobody cares for me. So you go to the coping, and how do you cope? So because nobody cares, I take care of myself.
Hmm.
I don't trust anyone to take care. I don't trust anyone to be close to me.
Hmm.
And that is the coping and everything. Now where do you store that, all that in your body? You have to release it, then you have to come back to that the safe room, and then you have to give the your centered adult which you have created at that time.
Hmm.
Can the centered adult give to the child what was the child not able to take from the parents?
Okay. So there are clearly like stages that one goes through.
Yes, yes.
And Doc, what are the different types of things that you've managed to heal through inner child work? What are the types? Because I've had questions in the group about health issues like acid reflux and things like that.
Yeah.
Uma mentioned procrastination. Is that something that's an inner child issue that can
Yes,
be resolved
yes.
through inner child work?
Absolutely. Procrastinate anything. See, I'll not say that this issue, everything can be resolved. For inner
Hmm.
child is there in the unhealed inner child. The wounded inner child is present in all of us. There is nobody sitting, including
Hmm.
me here, who does not have a wounded inner child. And that wounded inner child is stopping you from leading. Like, for example, if I would talk about myself, at the age of 13, I felt extremely supportless.
Hmm.
So now when I and see how it got triggered, I can talk about myself. I had a tiff with my mother in December on a very small topic. I had a tiff with her, and I said I will not talk to you. That was my conscious decision, right? And then what happened was I fell ill because I wanted her attention. I got corona, COVID. She was forced to talk to me. See, I'm giving you a live example of how a inner child just now, 2 months back, affected. So you can understand the
Hmm.
victim mentality. That part of me which wants my mother was ready to go through a death-like situation just to get her attention, even though the adult had said, I don't want to talk to you. And after that,
Hmm.
because I was ill, she was calling me day, night.
Should be
And
worried. Should be worried for you.
see, so the inner child is so much unhealed. Attention. It was all about attention when we worked on it later on.
That's really interesting. Doc, could you share with us some case studies where you've done inner child work and it's helped?
Okay. So I have done a lot of case studies. So inner child is very, very important. Okay. Now I can talk about. There was this person, the child here, who came to me. She was around 30 years old, and
Hmm.
she had this huge acidity issue. Okay. And whatever, even though she would not try to eat less of oil, try to eat less of everything, spices, yet the acidity would not go away.
Hmm.
When we started working and peeling off the layers of this lady who is 30 years old, we found out that her married life was not that great. And
Okay.
all of a sudden, because of her not being able to pay attention, she had lost her job, and then suddenly her acidity had spiked up. So first it was there in moderation, now it had completely spiked up. So she did not just come to me for the acid reflux, she came to me for a lot of issues. She came to me, my relationship is not working, my job is, I have lost my job, and then I'm not feeling well, I don't know how to cope. So
Hmm.
basically the coping dropped. So when we started regressing her. She went into the 15-year-old where she she suddenly found herself that she did not do well in school, and her mother at the age of 15, she really beat her up like anything, that you need to perform, you how can you do it, you are my child. And and how I'm so ashamed to show my face to people. Now,
Hmm.
that beating is something where her actual acidity started. She could not digest the fact that her mother beat her up so badly.
Hmm.
The neighbors also came in. It was so bad, and the child, developed a lot of anger against the mother, and said, "Ki okay, you can beat me as much as you want, but I will do whatever I want."
Hmm.
So in small ways, even though in her current life, if her husband would tell her something to do, she would unknowingly do things to sabotage the relationship.
Hmm.
Okay, so you tell me, for example, if the husband would say, "We need to go out, my parents are coming and you need to," now she doesn't like her, the parents. So she'll create the illness, or she'll
Hmm.
create a fight with the husband. Or when the parents come, she will create a fight. So this is how it reacts, right? So we
Hmm.
first worked on, because her first issue was with her mother. So the 15-year-old child was first dealt with. Then a
Hmm.
lot of shame because I'm not good enough and all that came up. Then
Hmm.
from there, the 15-year-old, we again further regressed in the next session. The second session, which I took, came up as a 10-year-old inner child, where she's again angry at her mother for a different reason. That the mother is not taking care of her, the mother is neglecting her, and the mother is only, because that's what the perception of the inner child is, that the
Hmm.
mother is going to work and she's not there for me. So whenever I come back from school, she's not there for me. I'm
Hmm.
just surrounded by servants.
Hmm.
Okay, so all that anger and frustration towards the mother was vented out.
Hmm.
So the how would this she would play out in her life is, whenever her husband would be late or would not be there, whenever the husband would come, even he was working, she would just start fighting. So this was not the adult fighting. This was a 10-year-old fighting for the attention of the mother.
Hmm.
But you don't realize, because you feel neglected. See, the issue here is the feeling. I am feeling neglected. My neglected inner child will come up.
Hmm.
Okay, so those kind of
Because
things.
we
So
only know that we only know that way to respond to a situation of neglect.
neglect. How what you some people by see, if you see some women, they will sulk. They will sit in a corner.
Hmm.
They will not talk to each other, anybody for 3 4 days. They will not eat food also,
Yeah. Yeah.
to punish the mother or to punish the father or to punish the. So the other person is, okay, eat something, eat something, eat something. So this is not the adult behavior. This is the inner child behavior. So
Hmm.
then we dealt with the 10-year-old inner child, and then there was, at the age of 2, the mother had left her at her nani's place. So all
Hmm.
the issues were related in and around the mother, her grandmother, because the mother was not able to take care of her because she was pregnant with another child.
Hmm.
They decided, let us keep her there. So lot of rage, lot of frustration, a lot of core emotions, that there is nobody for me,
Hmm.
my
Hmm.
mother does not love me, all those decisions she had made there. So we did about those sessions, and after that, what immediately you were asking, that shift, what after that, her relationship improved with the mother, and
Hmm.
her relationship with the husband became better,
Ah.
because that is where the actual connect was.
Hmm.
And then 3 4 months later, she got a better job.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so it's not difficult, but yeah, we did about 5 6 sessions with her, because that's
Hmm.
very important.
Hmm. Doc, I want to hear from Mayur. I'm going to check if Mayur is online because Mayur has gone through sessions on inner child healing.
Right.
I know we're talking today about both from a perspective of healing our own inner child as well as from the perspective of learning it as a technique so that we can heal other people as
Correct.
well.
Yeah, because it's a very good tool to heal people.
So I want to first quickly hear from Mayur, and then I'm going to take questions. I've seen a whole bunch of other questions and comments in the group, so we'll just come back to that. But let's first hear from Mayur because we're going to hear from someone who's experienced this firsthand. Yeah, Mayur, are you here?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hi, good afternoon, all. Yeah,
Good
so
afternoon. See you
I
again, Mayur.
always thanks ma'am. Because of her, I've resolved many things in my life, and I'm just helping people. I've learned many modalities with her, and still I'm learning with her. Uh, so there was a issue which I was going through in my life. I was finding difficulty to get better opportunity to grow in my work. There was always had an issue with my bosses. So
Mhm.
one day I went to her. I asked ma'am, "Okay, ma'am, there is an issue. I'm not getting promotions. and I feel always being dominated by my bosses. So she said, okay, let me work through inner child. So we regressed to a age where I was like 13, 14, and I was playing, means I was a good cricketer. So I wanted to go out and play, but my father didn't allow me. So this,
Basically,
I,
he was selected to play in
Wow.
yeah,
international cricket. So talk
Wow.
about your own efforts. Where were you?
yeah. So I was being called to play cricket, and my father didn't allow me. So she told me that this child is very rebel and he creates all the issue, and he this child is very passive aggressive eh, behaves. So we worked on that child. After that, there are many issues got resolved in my life. I got a good job. Now I'm getting a client, few clients with whom with I'm working, and they're also getting a good result when I'm working on their inner child. And
Also,
whenever I need,
you also practice inner child healing. Maybe you
yeah,
learned
I'm
the
just,
technique as
yeah, I've
well.
learned from her. And whenever I need help, she always like helps me out. If
Mhm.
I text her anytime, like sometime 10:30, so she always be there
New
and she
bounds
reply.
are made now. The rescuer has to stop.
I know I cross many boundaries, but I'm so sorry. Yes.
May you tell us a little bit more about
Mm.
what were the things that you learned in terms of your behavior to identify what was passive aggressive behavior? Give us an example of situations that would
So
come up when you would be passive aggressive.
whenever there was like, if tomorrow I have there is a work, and if I
Hmm.
don't want to go any, means I, if I feel like mujhe nahi jana hai, so I will
Hmm.
create some issue. I will break my legs, I will hurt my hand, or somewhere I will create some issue in the house कि घर पे fights हो गए. That way I used to do. So this child, inner child, who doesn't want to do anything, who creates all the issues, is
Ah,
very aggressive, and
okay.
who sabotage all the success and everything.
Hmm. And now, when you are faced with those situations, how do you address those type of situations? Now, when you don't feel like going and doing some work, what do you do?
So, but right now, through this healing, I just feel like if sometime I don't feel like I don't want to work, I just wait 10 to 15 minutes. I just do meditation or something. So, different way I've started doing things in my life, and I've kind of not sabotaging anything. I'm just try to resolve that issue and going ahead with that thing. Means if I don't want to work, so I will just meditate, I will just pray, or I will do something else that I should not let go my focus.
Ah, okay,
I'm
okay.
feeling that
It's more
because of this
constructive.
healing of that, yeah, because of this healing of inner child, um I've been become a very focused personality, which I was not there earlier, and I was like very forgetful person. I used to forget things.
Hmm.
So now I've just started noting down in the diaries and everything.
That's fabulous. That's fabulous.
Yeah.
I should probably do inner child healing because I forget things all the time as well. Thank you so much,
To
Mayur. Thank
sabotage
you for
Thank
sharing.
their issue with the authority. The boss needs to get
Yeah.
angry at them, no? So it will be a deliberate. It is passively deliberate, not actively deliberate.
Ah.
So the person wants to do it, but the passively aggressive child will not allow, will make him forget the thing at the important time.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, Mayur. I'm going to
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
thank you so much for joining us.
Yep.
That's really amazing, Gitanjali, because not only can you, therefore, once you've experienced inner child healing yourself, you can also identify inner child issues in family members around you, in people, in friends, etc., and you can help them as well.
Yes. And there are so many cases. Actually, Mayur had also come with the problem that he had leg pain. There was no cause for that leg pain. It was psychosomatic. So
Ah,
basically, so he had also come in for that problem. That was the first issue I addressed in 2012.
ah,
Okay, and I was working on his legs, and a lot of his inner child which came up, that I don't want to go ahead in my life, and all those stubbornness. So
hmm,
we did about 5 to 6 sessions, and Today his legs, forget today, within the sessions, within immediately his leg pain started going away. His legs
Wow.
don't pain now.
Wow.
Otherwise, it would be an intense pain in the leg which he had.
Hmm. Which he would, I'm sure, feel it. Like he would probably turn around and say, "What rubbish! It's not psychosomatic. I can feel it." That's
So that way, many things which are psychosomatic in nature can be healed through inner child. Like,
interesting.
your autoimmune diseases, they're all psychosomatic in nature.
Or they have roots in a child.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huge roots in inner child. And of course, there's past life work also, but inner
Hmm.
child is very important out here.
Okay. Doc, I'm going to raise some questions from the group, and then I want to tell everyone we are going to go into an exercise as well. So I do want to keep some time for that. Everyone's ready for the exercise? Give me a yes in the group. In the meantime, let me come back to a few questions. So someone here, again, I don't know their name. They have an angel and a star in the place of their name field. They're saying, how does being beaten um, as a child, how does that impact? I think she mentions that I used to be beaten up every day because of bedwetting till the age of 10. And I think she was beaten black and blue, she says. I remember going to school crying every day. Um, are these are these things that could lead to wounded inner child, Doc? Such trauma, because
Yes.
that's really horrible.
Yes, of course. These are all roots. See, if you remember the beating,
Hmm.
the beating is when it's coming onto your skin, your physical boundaries are getting violated. So now the
Hmm.
child feels unsafe,
Hmm.
unprotected.
Hmm.
And hence, of course, the coping would be crying and all that. That's a different thing. But what I'm trying to say is that unsafe and unprotected feeling will
Hmm.
be there with the person throughout. So
And they manifest in different ways.
it can manifest in a lot of ways. Some people, if you see, they start getting some psoriasis or something out here so that nobody likes to touch them.
Oh.
Yeah, why not? Because this is what has been touched now, my body.
Hmm.
So they will create, many people, even see people come in with psoriasis, body psoriasis, right?
Hmm.
But I'm so sorry, but the issue could be very deeply rooted in even sex,
Okay.
not wanting to have it, but can't be. I remember just now I've got a case of fibromyalgia, and this
Hmm.
woman was perfectly fine to the time she got married. And
Hmm.
I am here telling, oh my God, this is a classic case. She got married within 6 months, she creates the disease because she does not want that proximity with the husband. All the time she's tired. But I did not dare to open my mouth there and tell that this is because of so and so issue, because this realization the client should get on its own.
Hmm.
But it was some major trigger factor with the husband. Otherwise,
Hmm.
why will you develop something in 3 6 months?
Hmm. Hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And she got married very later. She got married at the age of 50.
Hmm.
And immediately she developed this.
Hmm.
And now she's forever tired. And the story that they will say, I'm so unhappy, I don't know what to do, I really pity my husband, he has to go through so much because of me
Hmm.
all the time, but it's my story.
Hmm.
Can we take Riddhi, because I think she has
Yeah.
to leave.
Yeah. 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 In fact, Riddhi had spoken, and I wanted to check with her. Riddhi's here. Yeah. Hi, Riddhi. Riddhi, you've learned in a child healing profession, like you practice it as a healer now, right?
Yeah, she.
Yeah. You're unmuted now.
Hi everyone. Hi, ma'am.
Hi.
Riddhi, tell me
Yes,
how
I
how
have done uh, inner child modality with the Geetanjali ma'am. I
Hmm.
have done many other modalities with her, and yes, it is the inner child work specifically is very helpful for all of us.
I think so there's some
Yeah, I think
her connection.
Because when I understood from her that, am I audible enough?
Yeah, it's your connection which is the issue.
Hello.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, I feel so. Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know
Hello?
the rest. Yes, Riddhi, we can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I learned this inner child issue, how to tackle, because many a core issue starts from our childhood. Hello?
Yeah, Ruchira.
Audible now?
Yeah, you're audible. Riddhi, you can continue.
Yeah, so when I learned inner child modality from her, and I came to know that every issue that comes in as an obstacle that starts somewhere from the childhood. So I had gone to her for my abusive partner that I had in my married life. तब उन्होंने समझाया कि यू हैव अ अब्यूसिव पार्टनर बिकॉज समवेयर कहीं ना कहीं बचपन में पेरेंट्स ने मारा होगा. So there is a projection of father on the husband. So when I tackle up that issue, there was a slight smoothness and there was a bearable movement and improvement with the husband. So इनर चाइल्ड में भले वो एक थप्पड़ हो या 5 थप्पड़ हो, बट वो बच्चे को नहीं पता होता है. That makes lot of difference to a small child. So when that get resolved, automatically the obstacle at this current age get resolved. So I'm very much thankful to Dr. Geetanjali for helping me out for this issue, and I'm still connected with her in many other ways.
That's fantastic, Riddhi. Thank you so much, Riddhi. That
Thank
was
you,
really
ma'am.
so. Riddhi, do you also practice it now quite often? Do you
I do
practice
practice.
self
I do have
healing?
my own clientels, and as and when I feel that somewhere I'm getting difficult, I'm always in touch with Dr. Gitanjali.
Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, Riddhi.
Thank you so much.
Doc, a whole barrage of questions. I want to quickly address them before we go into the exercise. Naresh is saying that his child has ACP. This has led to learning disabilities. At times, she goes into a shell. What would you advise?
But I think so that is also a condition which with the child is born with. We can definitely work with the child. But see, now what happens here is the child. We will have
Hmm.
to work with the mother here.
Okay.
I cannot, if the child is 7, 8 years old, we cannot work on that child.
Okay.
We would require that what is the need of the mother to create a child who always wants, who's not good in studies. It means it's not about
Hmm.
good in studies, but the aspects are such that the child is not able to perform. So here
Hmm.
the mother healing will be important. Through the mother, the child will be resolved.
Okay. Okay. Nehal has another question. She's saying when parents are unhealed, would kids face, would the kids also end up facing inner child issues?
Yes, if the parents are unhealthy, of course, because there is as it is the lack of the feminine energy. So that's what the child has seen. So it
Hmm.
will develop.
Okay. So it's important for parents to heal their wounded inner child as well.
See, as I said, everybody has an inner child. Okay,
Hmm.
a wounded inner child. So if the parents are able to do it, fine. If they're not able to do it, at least you do it for yourself.
Hmm.
You change your perception. You let go of your decisions.
Hmm. Okay.
I cannot say now my parent, like many people, they come and say, "Ki, okay, so I have this issue, but my father has double this issue." I said, let's first work on you. And if you become okay, then I'm sure your father, we can work with your father. But if you
Hmm.
are yourself not okay, how can we work? Like at the same time, you're working with two people, would be
Hmm.
slightly, I don't mind. But what happens, people, then they let go of their own healing. I try to focus, ki, let's first heal you. Then we can take
Hmm.
this up 3 months, 6 months down the line.
Hmm. Vandana has a really good question. She asks about when you do inner child healing and it gets sorted over the sessions, does the
Yes.
same issue come up again?
Normally it doesn't. I have not seen it come up again. Like, for example, Mayur's leg pain has gone. It has not come up again.
Hmm.
It's
Hmm.
been 10 years. So I don't see it coming up. I don't see this same issue coming up
Hmm.
unless there is a huge trigger.
Hmm.
If there is a trigger, it might come up, or some other inner child may come up, but that inner child will not come up on which you have worked.
Hmm. Hmm. Because I remember you mentioning this actually, Doc, in our discussions when we were talking about inner child.
Yeah.
And you said that the reason you actually work on your inner child, on that particular inner child behavior, is because you want to resolve it permanently. You want to
Yeah.
root it out. You want to release it from the root,
Right.
so that it doesn't come up again and again. Otherwise, with a lot of other healing modalities, you heal, but the same issue can crop up again and again, because the triggers, when that situation triggers, you're going to respond in the same way.
Amen. That's why I said his leg pain has not come up again. If something happens, then it may not be the same inner child, something else could be the cause, some other inner
Hmm.
child. Because
Hmm.
we just don't have one inner child.
Hmm.
We have plenty.
Hmm.
Down everywhere you felt neglected, neglected, neglected.
Hmm. Hmm.
And which was important.
So can you say, Doc, that there are basically different coping mechanisms that we've developed over
Yeah.
time?
And when the coping breaks is when you start having problems. When
Hmm.
suddenly you have a job loss, when suddenly you have acidity, when suddenly you have psychosomatic pains, then suddenly you say, my whole body is paining. You suddenly have everything is going for, everything is going fine in a relationship also. And suddenly one fine day you start having problems.
Hmm.
You hear people talk like that. Pehle ye aise nahi the. Now he has become.
That's true.
Something has triggered in you that has triggered the inner child in the other person also.
Hmm. Doc Farida is asking how to deal with video game addiction in a child when mother is away.
The mother is away, that is why the video game is there. But yes, we can definitely work on that, the video game, if the child himself or herself is willing. If the child is again very small, and the main thing is start putting firm boundaries on the child. Today's parents now, they don't want to talk to the child. This is, forget the inner child, this is just talking as a parent. They don't want to talk to the child, they don't want to listen to the child. Mostly all the children are alone,
Hmm.
they don't have anybody to play with, so automatically they will go to the video game only. So
Hmm.
I'm not saying have another child, but create situation when the child is in company of others. If you don't feel that you are capable of taking care of the child, then
Hmm.
you need to keep some primary caretakers who are there to take care of the child in a nice, healthy manner. You can
Hmm.
find some good crash also for your child. I've seen some crashes are really, really good.
Doc, Neha says fear of losing my mother and financial stress. After that, I have developed diabetes. Is that something that's rooted in inner child?
Well, yes, it can be rooted in child because the diabetes comes in when you feel there is a lack of love.
Okay.
So here there is something she must have felt a lack of love. So some inner child with feeling a lack of love has
Hmm.
come up. And
Okay.
a lot of fear has increased a lot of stress in her life.
Hmm.
So that fear is something that needs to get tackled. And maybe in that way, maybe she can go in for reversal programs for diabetes, or she would automatically feel, but you need to work on it. You can't say one fine day the pancreas are working fine.
Hmm.
You definitely see that yes, you can take care of your diabetes. Like I will talk about myself. So I have diabetes, but now when I did my own healing for diabetes,
Hmm.
I have gone in for. I did not get the reversal till now because honestly, I did not follow that much. It's not their fault. But everybody cannot reverse because it's been 10 years that I have my diabetes. But
Hmm.
now I'm able to manage my diabetes through only food. I don't take medicines, so my leg pain has gone, my lethargy has gone.
Hmm.
So how? Because I was working on my health, which led me to have this thing that you go to a right resource,
Hmm.
and you need to maybe the feeling of restriction is there. That feeling of restriction needs to get controlled.
Hmm.
So once it has come in the body, it would be difficult to get out. Like see, for acidity, it is very easy for us. Psychosomatic pains, it is very depression can go very easily. That's not a problem.
Hmm.
But sometimes when the pancreas are only not working fine, for it to reverse can take 2-3 years
Can
also.
take longer. Doc, Chaya and Deepak have raised this concern that they don't remember their childhood. What happens in that sort of scenario?
So then either we take a surrogate. If they don't remember their childhood, I normally take a surrogate. But that's not possible. They will remember when the time comes.
Okay. All
Because
right.
in hypnosis, all the memories are already there in your subconscious mind. So in the hypnosis, you will reach those memories.
Okay. And I've seen this question come up a couple of times. How do you know you're healed?
Because now with the same situation, you don't have that trigger. So for example, I had an issue with my boss, but with the same boss, after 6 months, I don't have an issue. That means my inner child is healed.
Mm, okay.
The same boss starts becoming, very nice to me,
Hmm.
starts taking care of me because my inner child has healed.
Okay.
See, please understand, there has to be something, Ruchira, within me
Hmm.
trigger the bad in that person, bad behavior. The person is not bad.
Hmm. Hmm.
His worst behavior comes out when that person is with me.
Okay.
If I let go of my trigger, which is
Hmm.
triggering his response also,
Hmm.
I can definitely resolve 50 to 70% of my issue. If I
Okay.
get triggered seeing something and I work on myself,
Hmm.
100% that will go away.
Okay. Okay. So one last quick thing that I do want to hear, because then we'll go into the exercise that you've got set out for everyone today. I want to hear from Tanushree and Nirja very quickly.
Ninja, I think
Tanushree
is
here?
not coming. Tanushri.
Yeah.
Tanushri has come, not Nirja. I think so. She has her inner child met with an accident, or a friend's inner child met with an accident.
Oh, oh gosh. Let's just check with.
Tanushri is there. She's a psychologist.
Oh, fantastic. Tanushree, you're unmuted now. Tanushree, tell us your experience with inner child work. You practice inner child healing now after learning it from Dr. Geetanjali. Tell us a little bit, and it's fantastic that you're a psychologist as well, because that gives us a whole different angle and perspective to this.
Yeah. So I learned inner child work 5 years back. So first I completed my degree in psychology, and then because in psychology theories also we usually learn that all the psychological issues there is some background related to their childhood,
Hmm.
people's childhood. So,
Hmm.
when I got to know about that there is a modality known as inner child healing, I was interested that, I will be able to learn more and I will be able to help my patients. So then I chose to learn inner child healing. So, firstly, I practiced this on myself. And when I saw a lot of issues getting resolved, I started practicing this with my clients also. And trust me, it works wonders with your patients. Matlab from the weird issues, like I don't matlab, I will just share one example of one of my
Yeah.
patient. So she is a 26-year-old female, and she was just very fed up from her relationship choices.
Hmm.
She came with the problem that I have had a lot of breakups because of the issue that when first time I meet a person, they are very decent people, um, they listen to me, I enjoy with them. But as I start dating them, something happen and they become either alcoholic or they get involved in drugs.
Oh
So
gosh.
that was a very weird thing, that
Yeah.
how can this happen? But when because of this knowledge, when I took the case history and I tried knowing about her childhood and her parents, I got to know that her father was an alcoholic. So so because of the relationship she had with the father in during her childhood, she was attracting same kind of people as her father. So then, through this inner child work, I took her to, different ages and resolve that conflict with her father, where she was trying to attract the same kind of a partner as her father. So the actually the issue was very strange, that why am I attracting this kind of partner? But it was all coming from her inner child. So that's why I feel that inner child work is very important and it helps a lot.
That's fantastic, Nija, to hear that. It's Tanushree, because a lot of times I think people don't even realize that they had an inner child wound that was leading to something else, because they think that, okay, the problem is somewhere else.
Hmm. I have seen in my practice that usually all the core issues are coming from your inner child only. Any issue like anxiety, depression,
Mm,
phobias, there is some issue related to your childhood only.
fabulous. And this is a really great skill for you to have as a therapist.
Yes, I think that.
Because I've seen, in fact, when Doc and I were talking about it earlier, she had mentioned that for people who practice psychotherapy, who practice other modalities, regression therapies, etc., knowing inner child work and knowing inner child healing as a technique is very very is quite an essential part of your work.
Yes, definitely. It supports a lot because it's very, at times a patient is coming with the current problem, but when they try to introspect themselves and when they try to understand the root cause of the problem, the healing work starts from the, root level. So it's
Hmm.
definitely very nice to know about inner child work. And
Great.
it helps not only my patients, but it also helps myself. Whenever I am doing my inner child work, I get to know a lot about myself and heal myself.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Tanshi. Thank you
No?
for joining us. Doc, let's get into the exercise we have set out for everyone. I know we've talked a lot about
Yeah.
um, how to identify it, how the healing works, etc. Um, we'll just come back. A couple of questions have come up, but we'll come back to those questions after the exercise. Could you take everyone through what we're doing today?
Okay, so there are two things we can do. First of all, I can. How many minutes do we have for this?
We can have like about 10
10.
minutes or so.
Okay. So then can I just either I can do an exercise or either I can do a meditation to release the anger. Does anybody want to work on the anger or the blocker in their life?
We'll just ask everyone to choose. One is an option to work on anger or a
Anger.
blocker in your life. The other option,
So
Doc?
the anger or the blocker to whatever where do you feel blocked or that part of you which is blocking a lot of good things in your life.
Okay. Okay. I've started seeing lots and lots of people saying blocker.
Blocker. Okay, fine.
We'll just
So
give them another couple of seconds to get back so we can have a, yeah, there's still a lot of blockers.
people will like a blocker. So,
Both. Rhonda, if we can have time, we'll try and do both, but I think that will be a little difficult today, at least. Okay, let's go with blocker, Doc.
okay. So I would ask everybody to close their eyes. I'm not going to put any meditation music. You need to be very centered when you hear this. So I want like all of you to close your eyes and exhale through your mouth and take another slow deep breath in and exhale through your mouth. And I want you to close your eyes. Nehal, please close your eyes. And if you really want to have the benefit of this exercise, please follow the exercise through. Take another slow deep breath in and exhale. And now breathe in all the fresh air, pumping in more oxygen inside your body, and breathe out all the stagnant energy, all the carbon dioxide. Each time you exhale, you become lighter and lighter. Let go of all your worries, doubts, and concerns, anxieties, guilt, and allow yourself to relax even more deeply and comfortably. Now I will count down from 10 down to 0, and with each count, feel yourself going deeper and deeper into the state of relaxation where you can identify that part of your personality which is blocking the good things from coming in your life. It could be a blocker to emotional, healthy relationships. It could be a blocker to growth professionally. It could be a blocker to health. That part of you which is creating or not allowing you to live your life to the maximum, We're going to identify that part of you. So start coming down with 10, still going deeper with 9, more and more deep with 8, deeper still with 7, still going deep with 5, deeper with 4, going very deep with 3, still going deep at 2, 1, and 0. As you're enjoying the serenity and the calmness, and this calmness is growing even more deeper to each and every cell of your body, with each breath that you take in, you feel more wonderful about your existence. And now with another slow deep breath in, as you inhale, find yourself, imagine, visualize, or feel yourself on a beach. This beach is a very clean beach and there is no one around you. It's just you on the beach. There's loads of greenery on the beach side. And the water of the ocean is absolutely beautiful, transparent, and of a very deep blue color. As you see the water, you find yourself becoming more and more relaxed. And you are able to feel the breeze hitting your face. And let this breeze take off any other stress that you are carrying with you. Just keep going with this wonderful peace and this calmness. Now visualize yourself standing and facing the ocean. Look into the ocean and feel the breeze and the calmness as you are further engrossed in the peace and the sound of the waves. Allow yourself to feel all the emotions, sensations as intensively as you can. I want you to turn your back towards the ocean and look at the sand. Walk a few steps back and surround yourself with a protective layer of lights around you. And now, as I count down from 3 to 0, at 0, that part of you, which is the blocker in your life, will step inside and reveal itself to you. If you are unable to see anything, allow yourself to imagine, because imagining is also the same as visualizing. So going deeper, and 3, feeling more and more relaxed at 2, very relaxed at 1, and at 0, that part of your personality reveals itself to you. And now look at this personality, that part of you which is creating so many blocks. Call in that part and thank the part that you have revealed yourself to me and you trusted me. Look at that part, that inner child, that part of you which creates so many blocks. And now identify how old this part is. Make a mental note of this part. How old is this child? What are the clothes the child is wearing? Look into the eyes. what emotion is being held in the eyes? Is this part scared, angry, or is there any other emotion? Look at this part and ask the part, how old was I when I created you? And how do you help me? Because there is definitely a payoff here, because of which this part was created. How do you help me in my life? And listen to the answer that you get from this part of you. How does this part help you? Ask this part, what was happening when you were created? What was happening around you when I created you? Listen to the part, this child, very, very carefully, because it takes a lot of courage for the child to reveal itself. And now ask this part, how do you hinder me? Or what do you stop in my life? Ask the child, what was your decision? Did you decide anything at the end of any traumatic incident? And also ask the child, where do you hold this decision in your body? Once you have identified where you hold on this emotion in the body, this decision which is impacting your life, ask the child, is it okay to release this decision? Because this decision of yours is stopping my growth or is hindering me in my life. Talk to the child how you feel hindered or blocked. Only if the child is ready, ask the child to gently blow out the decision. Inhale clean, clear light and energy and blow out this decision in your body. See, where do you store this decision in the body? Inhale clean, clear light and energy and exhale the decision. Replace the decision with clean, clear light and energy and exhale. Keep on exhaling till the time the entire decision, the energy of that decision is out of this part of you. Ask the child if it is ready to get integrated within you. Only if the answer is yes will you allow the child to integrate. If you do not get that yes, please do not integrate the child. The child is not ready and you will find it difficult. In case the child is not ready to get integrated, tell the child, I will be visiting you every day. And if you make a promise, you keep it. If you want to make a promise that I'll visit you once a week, say that. Be very honest and truthful with the child. I will visit you and see how you are. And if the child is ready to get integrated, hold the child very gently close to you and keep on taking slow, deep breaths and exhaling. A slow, deep breath in and exhale. A slow, deep breath in and exhale. Keep on inhaling and exhaling till the time you feel this inner child gently getting integrating and dissolving in your current physical self. Now that you have reclaimed your inner child, I want you to feel your surroundings, feel the feet on the ground, say your name to yourself, say the date of today, 31st of January 2021. The date, say your name to yourself, the date that you are today, 31st of January 2021. And you can open your eyes. And the first thing I would like you to do is, before even talking to me or writing in that group, write down the age of that inner child, the emotions which the inner child felt, the decision you made. It's very important.
Hi, Doc.
Hi.
That was really powerful, actually. That's an exercise. That's really, really. I think I'm seeing a whole bunch of messages on the group. Um, there's someone who says, "Saw when I was conceived and my mother was unhappy." Everyone's written down the ages that they noticed. The writing of the age, doc, is something that you do just on just on a piece of paper, right?
Yeah, because in KC, because please understand, we have identified, but the healing completely has not happened. So they
Hmm.
will require sessions.
Hmm. So the Panitas said 5, Ravi says 4. Um, the one who has the star and a fairy says 7. Alicia says 8 months. Decision was to never let men close to me by not being attractive enough. Shilpi says my child was not ready to leave, but I couldn't leave him. And Farida says 9. Bhavna says deep gratitude for this exercise. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Angel. um, Manisha says I could only see a child, nothing else. Should Manisha listen to the whole exercise once again and go through it once again, Doc?
Yeah, she can do that. Or now she doesn't need to go to the exercise. She just needs to close her eyes and invite that child and then see what is there around. That is why basically now she just can connect to the child.
Okay,
If the child speaks or does not speak, we can't help it.
okay. Um, Neetu says 8, 9, 10, maybe. Is it really important to be very specific, Doc, to get the exact age at which?
No, people say I'm 8 to 10 years old. I feel I'm 5 years old, or I'm 3 years old, or I'm between 3 to 5. It's perfectly fine.
Okay. Neha,
Everybody will not have that same kind of clarity, and it's okay not to have it. What is important is we have to identify and let go of the decisions.
okay. Okay. Neha says, I literally cried convincing my 4-year-old inner child, happy and very thankful. Rhonda says she noticed that she was 7. Anshika says, thank you. Today I got to know something I was not aware of.
Please share with us.
Suman says, Anshika, do share with us what awareness came
Yes,
through. Do
it's
share with
important.
us. Yeah. Suman says, what if the child does not want to change? What
Of
to do?
course, very good. That means Suman is exactly going with what the child is. She's in complete synchronicity with the child. And there are children who don't want to change. They take 2-3 sessions for them to change. See, because we have not heard the story. This is just a meditation group, but basically you have to then. So whenever I do this exercise, then you have to work with the inner child.
Okay. Okay.
So that is important because the story is everybody's story is different.
Okay. Maggie says, I don't know about the payoff of attracting unemotionally available partners, but she noticed that it was a 4 or 5 year old that um, she could identify herself as between the age of 4 and 5 years.
Okay, good.
So is it something that that would get revealed? The payoff gets revealed during sessions, Doc?
Yeah, the payoff will get revealed during the sessions if she takes the sessions.
Okay. Bhavna says heaviness in her left hand and back during the exercise. Sorry, the thing just changed. Just 1 second. I'm coming back to. Um, yeah. And at the end, I could see the inner child holding my hand and dancing in circles happily. That means, Doc, that's an inner child who's
Change.
willing to change. Okay. Neha
But
felt.
there was this heaviness also in the left hand and the back. So
Hmm.
what was the thoughts of the inner child because of which this heaviness is there? That also she needs to talk to the inner child.
Okay. Okay. Nehal says lots of suppressed anger and emotions are coming up. Neha, she says, my inner child at 4 said she took a decision to not get married ever and be like her bachelor big uncle, who was her guardian till 25. Neetu says she feels a heaviness in her heart and it's still there. Jinal says Jinal says they missed it. Jinal, you'll get the call replay and you can go through this exercise again. And Dipanita says, my inner child gave me a rose. Doc, is there something we can help with for Neetu for the heaviness in her heart that she's feeling?
Tell her to breathe in. Where is Neetu? So she needs to. Where is Neetu?
Neetu, where are you? We'll just ask her to type it in. In the meantime, Doc, Anshika says, I was physically abused by some male in the neighborhood due to the negligence of my mom, as my mom was very busy in a joint family. I hold that pain in my solar chakra. That becomes loneliness, and I have no male support till now. Is there something that she can?
She needs to take sessions, Ruchira. It will take. It cannot get resolved in this 5 minutes healing.
Hmm, okay, okay. Shopi says,
Because what happens is the inner child speaks.
hmm,
So we have to hear what the inner child speaks, and then when the client says, you need to then it's like a dance. You have to follow that dance what the client is leading you on to, and help
okay,
the client to release those tapes.
hmm, hmm.
Got it? So that is very, very important.
Lata has messaged, Doc, that I have this fear of injections.
Okay.
My mom forced me to, okay, injections, yeah, that's right. My mom forced me to pierce my nose for a nose ring. I hate myself, and since then I have a fear of injections, and I'm petrified. I fear falling ill.
Well, I will also say one more thing with Lata. There are other things also with her
Hmm.
which needs to address. And I hid myself and the fear of fall. Because why? Because if it was only injection, she would stop there. She's saying, and I fear falling ill.
Hmm.
So there are a lot of fears. The child is already into, as you say, some kind of a phobia.
I was just going to ask, in fact, when people have phobias, are they also rooted in inner child?
See, phobias actually would be rooted in inner child, of course, but with that also the past life.
Because I
So
know
that's also
you've talked
required.
about phobias and their connection to
Yeah,
past life.
but what happens is the inner child is made, and this inner child triggers a huge bunch of past lives. But
Okay.
there are many clients who cannot go into a past life. So for these clients, inner child work is best. And you can heal a lot of issues through inner child. Sometimes some karmic issues, like, do not get completely resolved only through inner child. At that point, regression work is advised, past life regression. But 80 to 90% issues can be worked and dealt with in the current life because you know those issues. So
Yeah.
a huge amount of healing happens within
Okay.
a child work.
Okay.
And you know your current inner child. So you feel, yeah, it's a reality.
Hmm. 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 True. Um, Neil says feelings of inner child were fear and suppression due to scolding or verbal abuse and lack of acceptance um, by mostly women. Upon asking how the inner child would help, he did not feel open enough or eager enough. What does one do that? What does one do in a situation like that, Doc?
See, I would advise Neil to go and meet his inner child every day.
Okay.
So now that he's identified, to go and touch the inner child, hug the inner child. See, it will take time. It can be 15, 20 days before the child allows Neil as the adult to come close because it has been physically abused by
Hmm.
those women.
Hmm.
So he needs to really cajole and caress the child, say, I'm there for you. I'm there to take care of you. I will
Hmm.
see to it that you are not hurt again.
Hmm.
Women don't dominate. Those kind of talks he has to give to the
Hmm.
inner
Hmm.
child daily, till the time the inner child lets go of his wounded eyes and things like that.
Hmm. Okay. Tejal says, Dipanita, thanks, she's rushing off. Tejal says, inner child was 7. It was a revelation. It was a time when I tried to run away from home to escape my mom's beatings. I felt I can never depend on anyone but myself. And I see this pattern in my life where I don't depend on my family for anything. I felt the
So
block.
what did the inner child lose here? It lost trust.
Hmm.
Trust. It needs to get, and it sees everybody with mistrust.
Ah,
It
okay.
needs, so the positive quality I lost is my trust on my mother, and
Hmm.
I took in the mistrust. So everybody now I'm projecting mistrust. ये भी use करेगा, इसको भी trust नहीं कर सकते. This person also is not good. I cannot trust this person. All the time the same mistrust coming in. So
Hmm.
these feelings also need to get changed. So what did you lose? I lost my trust, and what came to you? What came to me was rejection, mistrust, anger. So now
Hmm.
leave that all out. Actually, during the actual session.
Okay. And she said that she felt the block in her
And
lower.
what's the coping? What's the coping, Ruchira?
What's the
Running away.
Okay.
So she could be also heading to depression also. You never know, the client.
Hmm. Okay.
Because depression is one way of running away.
Ah, okay. Okay.
You are physically present, but your mind runs off.
Hmm. Doc, why do you ask everyone to notice where they feel the block physically in their bodies? Why is that
Because
important?
that is where the decision, the energy is locked. We have to loosen this energy. That is the time when we start movement. So there is blocked energies. So when you release those energies with clean, clear light and energy, it
Hmm.
it becomes unblocked, and that is what will help you to have the movement.
Okay. Okay. So I have a question for everyone. Now that you are aware and that you at least have met your inner child, even if you don't have permission as yet, or the integration hasn't happened as yet. Um, when you meet, since you met your inner child, are you ready to look at healing that inner child, that healing that wounded inner child? Let's see some yeses in that group. You can just type it in the Telegram group. Show us a yes. Show that inner child that you are committed to that inner child, that you are interested in healing that wound. Yeah. And we'll share what Doc has in store for us. Let's see lots and lots of yeses, because once you meet that inner child that's been waiting for you to meet for a while, what would you honor? How would you honor your inner child?
Is so many yeses.
Let's see lots and lots of yeses. Okay, I can see tons and tons of yeses, Doc. Take us through how you propose somebody should heal their inner child, and what are the ways in which, what are the aspects of that you cover?
Okay. So basically, let's first talk about the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
I will be giving you the course materials, which I basically, um, we have got a lot of information from so many courses which I have done through inner child work.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm going to be passing on the important things which are important for inner child healing in this workshop. I think it's not a 10-hour program. It's actually a continuation till the 19th. So it's not a 10-hour, is too less a time to do inner child. Okay, so it's this 13th and 14th. I'm so sorry, I just jumped. But 13th and 14th is 2 full days. And then we have regular up till 19th, 6:30 to 8:30. And it can go to 9 also. I am not putting a barrier there. Okay, so it is the continuous, it's, I think so it would be maybe a 24 hour program. I don't know now if it is 5 hours here, 20 hours. Okay, and of course, if you require, we will increase the time as per the group's this thing. So I'll be giving extensive course materials which I have learned with Trisha Kateno. She's the pioneer in inner child work. Okay, and I've learned from her, and I teach her course also. um, we'll be giving you certification for inner child work, which is from my institute, and it would be also certified by IPHM. It's an international body. You can anytime repeat my course. I always tell people repeat my course. You can anytime repeat my course, and it's completely free. And I'll be giving, as I told you, putting a little bit of boundary, 2 months support for whatever queries you need to answer. Ask me, and I will be there to answer you, guide you. Okay. So it's about basically a 20-hour program, and it can go beyond that also. Right.
We'll just
Okay, so this 20 hours inner child workshop will be, the entire workshop would be there. Plus, we are giving them the revision of the entire workshop, okay, which is worth 15,000 in that. My support that to answer your queries, that support, you need to speak to me. In case somebody is even needs to speak to me, they need to just take an appointment for 10-15 minutes and get in touch with me. So then I can be on the phone with them. And of course, the course material, whatever we are going to give them the PDF, which is worth 5,000. So the usual cost of this workshop is 65,000 rupees. And it is about 1,019 US dollars, those who are international viewers out here. And today, the special price that we are asking for so much, we are giving them only at 25,000 rupees. And along with the support, which is, which I'll be taking through. And if you have any case studies to give me, even I will be helping you with that also. So it's hardly $392 for the international viewers, and for the Indian, it is 25,000 rupees. Okay. And
because it's a certified course, it means that if you've already spotted inner child issues in your family or amongst people that you know, or you're a healer and you know that you've had clients who've got really, really stubborn issues that keep cropping up again and again, this is something that you can learn to practice on others.
You'll earn a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because I see so many tarot readers, so many people who do Akashic reading, but you have to resolve those issues. You require a healing modality, and it's a beautiful healing modality. And on the works of Trisha Kateno, you're getting. So her notes, and of course redefined, but basically what her thoughts were or her case studies were. It's difficult to get those notes.
That's
Courses are worth about 2.5, 3 lakh rupees.
wow. My
Yes,
goodness.
that's what we pay for those courses. And
Wow.
we have ended up paying about 5 lakhs because we wanted to be trainers.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
So I
Okay.
have only picked up the important things there, not everything, because that is a 1 year course. So I cannot teach everything at that time.
And Doc, you're also offering personal sessions. It's a package of personal sessions that you're offering today.
Right. So the usual price I charge nearly 5,000 per session. Okay. And today's special price that we are giving instead of a package of 5, because see, to make a change in your life, you need to invest in yourself. This money you are using to invest in yourself, you will find the benefits of it, and you will find a shift, right? So this is an investment, and we have decreased the price. So from $392 to $283. So for 25,000 to 18,000 is the price. We can't go lower than this because it takes a lot of time and energy. And when a client comes to us, especially for inner child, you need to give your 100%. You need to be there for the client, because the inner child, as it is so neglected, you can't neglect that client.
That's true. That's true. And Doc, you also have a single session offer today as well.
So my single session offer is, if just people want to only experience once, they can take this session for 5,000, which is my usual price, usual cost.
All right. And these are 60-minute sessions.
60 minutes. It will go 10 minutes upper only, not down.
Okay.
Unless, you are not able to regress, then you can end up the time in talking or having a cognitive therapy with the client, trying to give insights, but it will not be less than 60 minutes.
Okay. Okay. That's fantastic. All links to book your spot on the course, as well as on if you want to purchase the packages of personal sessions. That's all on the Telegram group. So you can see all details and links to purchase on the Telegram group. We'll also share with you if you have any issues with when you're transacting, etc. You can get in touch with Amrish. Amrish's details are on the group as well, and he'll help you out. And I'm just going to go through the entire thing once more, because Doc, there is the package A, which is really, really good if you want to not only heal yourself through the process of learning inner child healing, but you also want to acquire it as a tool, as a technique that you want to practice. And that's just for 25,000 rupees. That's almost, it says 10 hours here, but Doc just explained to us that it's going to be what, 20 hours
20 hours
of work. And that's just 25,000 rupees. That's $392 only. A course that otherwise costs a lot when you do, as Geetanjali has paid from learning from Trisha. All course materials you're going to get as well, and you get to revise the entire course again. Yeah, whenever the course is getting repeated, you can do the entire course all over again. So that's a really great way, Doc, to get smoother with your understanding of inner child work, right?
See, because in the workshop, there will be people who will address your issues. So you will be healing, plus you're acquiring a technique.
Yeah. So that's brilliant.
But everybody does not want to be a healer. So at that point in time, they can take their sessions. Otherwise, the back package is very good.
Okay. And like today, we've identified with all of us, all these awarenesses that cropped up today. We know that there is an inner child wound sitting there, and in different degrees, it is impacting us on our day-to-day life, because we're employing those coping mechanisms from that inner child. We're employing them in all our day-to-day stresses. So it's a great way to it's a great time. Now that you spotted it, now's the time to address it. Yeah. So 5 personal sessions for inner child healing, 60 minutes each. This offer is only around for 24 hours. So do get in there and avail of it. There's also, in case you just want to try it, you're not sure, then there is a offer of a single session, which is for 5,000, 60 minutes as well. That's 79 US dollars. Yeah. All right. I'm going to look at any other questions that might be there from the group. Neetu says a personal session will be one-to-one. Yes, personal sessions are one-to-one, of course. I'm looking at,
And in case they're in Mumbai, they can come to my office.
okay, okay, all right. But otherwise, they can do it online as well, Doc.
We are doing online sessions now. So many online sessions now we are doing this with the Zoom. It's quite good.
Okay. I see the team has already answered your questions, Anshika, about whether you can do you can do healing after you do the course. It's a certified course, and you get certification from from Dr. Geetanjali Saxena's organization. Plus, you get an international certification as well, right, Doc?
Right, absolutely.
Okay. And so, yes, of course, you can practice. You can be an inner child healer. Yeah. That sounds very nice, being an inner child healer.
You parent your inner child.
Yeah. Nilesh is asking, the workshop is of 2 days of 5 hours each plus 5 days of 2 hours each day. Is
Yes.
that's right, right? Yeah, I made that mistake on the
Okay.
on the
It
presentation.
was confusing. Actually, we were trying for 2 to 5 days continuous, but we wanted to help the people by, giving them less, they can do their work. So that is why we kept it at 6:30 to 8:30. That that time can get saved.
Okay. Okay.
So whatever we were covering in 5 days, we are trying to cover in this, right from 13th to about 19th.
Okay.
The workshop will be from 13th to 19th.
Okay. Chaya says she's really interested, but she's looking for alternative dates. The team will help you out, Chaya, on that. Um, there's another question about package A and package B being different. The team has answered already, but I'll just answer for everyone else who may have missed it on the group. Package A is for people who want to learn inner child healing and get healed in the process, because you're going to, there's a whole bunch of practice sessions happen, so you can get healed while learning the technique as well. And package B is for sessions, one-on-one sessions. Yeah. All right. If there are any more questions, I'm just going to check once more. Neetu says would be available only after 4 p.m. Neetu, you can talk to the team and figure out the alternative dates for the course. And let me just check through if there's anything else. Doc is going to be around on the Telegram group, as always, to answer your questions. So if you have more questions on the course, on the workshop, on the modality, she's there to answer those questions. Yeah. So we're going to close for today here. And I'm not seeing, I'm going to just check in. Sagari says, will there be recordings of the class?
So what happens is I generally do not give recordings for two reasons. That I want 100% my students to be there. And it's an inner child workshop. It's not a workshop like, which is not, it's a heavy workshop. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, people share. And when people share, it becomes difficult for me to, because it's very intense. People can talk about their personal life. Later on, if this workshop goes and if these people, you have your recording,
Concerns, it's better that it's, yeah.
that's the reason I don't do it.
Yeah. That's a very nice thing to do, actually.
Yeah, numerology you can do, or maybe a tarot workshop you can do, but these intense courses, it's very difficult because
So much personal stuff comes
personal
up.
stuff comes up. Tomorrow you want to take I have seen that inner child people can just share with somebody. It has happened in our classes and it becomes very difficult. There are people who share that they have had a lot of abuse from the parents and
Yeah.
sexual abuse, and those stories become very difficult to share. So that is my personal boundary on that.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you're going to learn how to set boundaries. Boundaries for yourself, boundaries for others, boundaries that are good for everyone. um, Shobna's asking, is this a self-healing modality or only to be done on others?
Only to be done on others. If you need self healing, darling, you come to me. I'll work on you.
All right. And Tejal says, thank you so much, Dr. Gitanjali. Sagari says, thank you. And everyone's thanking us as well. Most welcome, everyone. All right, we're going to close today. And I hope you're going to avail of this offer. This is incredible because internationally, I've seen how much inner child healing workshops and training workshops, which basically give you certification and you get to heal yourself during this during the course of learning. um, that to get it at this price is an incredible opportunity. I'm sure your inner child will thank you. All right, thank you everyone. Thank you, Doc. Thank you so much for being
Thank you
so
so much.
generous
Thank you
as
so much
always.
for all being here. Thank you so much, Ruchira, for hosting, and thank you, Ambrish, for giving me this opportunity to come here. Believe me, I really like the way you guys work. I was actually thinking of how much of pain and effort you went through, Ruchira, to actually learn or even talk about inner child, because it is not one of those modalities which is easy to speak about. So I appreciate your hard work. Really, I do.
Pleasure. My pleasure. I get to learn so much every time, Doc, that I speak with you, and you're an absolute fountain of knowledge. And the fact that you have trained with people who are pioneers of these modalities, that shows through. That's a whole different level, I think, that you bring to the table. So it's an absolute pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you for being here. And bon appetit because it is lunchtime. But do avail of the offer because it's for 24 hours only. Um, all offer links to purchase are going to be on the Telegram group. Doc is going to be on the Telegram group. So we're not exactly going too far away. All right. All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.